The Battle of the Arar, also known as the Battle of the Somme, was one of the pivotal opening engagements of Julius Caesar's Gallic War. Fought in 58 BCE, this conflict marked a decisive moment in Caesar's campaign to subdue the tribes of Gaul and secure Roman dominance in the region. Though it may not have been the largest battle of the war, the events at the Arar River showcased Caesar's strategic brilliance, the discipline of his legions, and the swift nature of Roman military power. To truly understand the significance of this battle, we must first delve deeper into the context of Caesar's Gallic campaign, the Helvetii tribes' motivations for migrating, and how this clash came to be. For years, the Helvetii had lived in relative isolation, surrounded by the natural defences of the Alps to the south and east, and the River Rhine to the north. Their territory was fertile but confined, and the Helvetii population began to grow. Overpopulation, along with increasing pressure from Germanic tribes to the north, created a sense of urgency for the Helvetii to find a new homeland. They also sought the security that came from controlling more abundant and defensible territory, hoping to relocate to the more fertile lands of western Gaul, near the Atlantic coast. In making their decision to migrate, the Helvetii were led by their noble class, including the prominent chieftain Augetorix. Augetorix had initially rallied the Helvetii around the vision of leaving their homeland to establish dominance in Gaul. However, before the migration could begin, Augetorix died, either by suicide or through assassination, depending on conflicting reports. His death created uncertainty, but did not stop the plan. The Helvetii, driven by both hope for a better future and fear of their Germanic neighbours, began their massive exodus, taking with them all their possessions, livestock and families. They burned their homes and villages to eliminate the possibility of retreat, committing themselves fully to their journey. At this time, Julius Caesar was serving as the governor of the Roman province of Transalpine Gaul, the region directly south of the Helvetii's proposed route. Caesar's position as governor came with both military and political responsibilities. He had been granted command over 4 legions and had been tasked with defending Roman interests in Gaul. However, Caesar had far grander ambitions than merely safeguarding the province. He sought military glory to strengthen his political position back in Rome. Gaul, with its various tribes and conflicts, provided the perfect theatre for Caesar to prove his military prowess. When Caesar learned of the Helvetii's intentions to migrate, he knew this movement presented both a threat and an opportunity. Allowing such a large and potentially hostile force to pass unchallenged could embolden other tribes to follow suit, undermining Roman authority in the region. On the other hand, successfully defeating the Helvetii could elevate Caesar's reputation both with his soldiers and the Senate. The stakes were high, and Caesar understood the importance of taking decisive action. The Helvetii migration was slow due to the sheer number of people and the logistical challenges of moving across rough terrain with wagons, livestock, and thousands of non-combatants. They travelled westward, seeking to cross the Rhone River and enter Roman territory. Caesar initially attempted to block them by building fortifications along the river. However, the Helvetii managed to outflank Caesar by crossing upstream and continuing their journey. Caesar, realizing the importance of halting the Helvetii's progress, quickly gathered his legions and marched to intercept them. The key moment came as the Helvetii began crossing the Arar River, which was known for its slow and winding course. The river, though not wide or fast-flowing, presented a natural barrier that the Helvetii needed to cross with their entire migration force. This process took days, as the Helvetii had to ferry their people, animals and supplies across the water on makeshift rafts and boats. When Caesar arrived with his legions, he saw that only part of the Helvetii force had made it to the far side of the river, leaving a significant number still vulnerable on the Roman side. Seeing this as a perfect opportunity to strike, Caesar acted swiftly. He ordered his troops to prepare for a surprise attack. His legions, well-trained and experienced from previous campaigns, were used to rapid deployment and disciplined action. Caesar's soldiers moved with speed and precision, taking the Helvetii by surprise. The Helvetii, preoccupied with the task of crossing the river, were not expecting an assault. They had no time to organize a proper defense. The Roman legions charged into the disorganized Helvetii force, cutting down many of the warriors who had been left behind to guard the crossing. The Helvetii, though fierce fighters, were at a significant disadvantage. Their forces were spread out and unprepared, while Caesar's legions were tightly coordinated and well armed. The battle was short but brutal. Thousands of Helvetii were killed, and those who survived were forced to flee across the river to join the rest of their people on the opposite bank. This tactical victory was crucial for Caesar. By striking at the Helvetii while they were divided, he weakened their overall strength and gained the upper hand in the campaign. Moreover, the psychological impact of the battle was profound. The Helvetii, who had believed that they could move through Gaul without serious opposition, now realized they faced a formidable and determined adversary in Caesar. The element of fear began to take hold within their ranks. For Caesar, this victory was more than just a military achievement. It was a demonstration of his leadership and strategic brilliance. He had successfully exploited the Helvetii's vulnerability and turned a minor skirmish into a decisive engagement. This success not only bolstered the morale of his legions, but also increased his standing among the Gallic tribes and back in Rome. News of Caesar's victory at the Arar spread quickly, and the Roman Senate, ever eager to hear of military triumphs, praised Caesar's actions. He had proven himself as a capable commander, willing to act decisively and protect Roman interests. In the aftermath of the battle, Caesar ordered his legions to build fortifications along the riverbank, securing their position and ensuring that the Helvetii could not easily recross the river. This allowed Caesar to consolidate his forces and plan his next move. He knew that the Helvetii were still a threat, but now they were weakened and demoralized. The Helvetii, on the other hand, were in disarray. Their leaders had not anticipated such a swift and devastating defeat. While they still had a sizable force, the loss at the Arar was a blow to their confidence. The realization that they were being pursued by a relentless Roman army forced them to reconsider their strategy. They could no longer rely on their numbers alone to guarantee success. In the weeks that followed, Caesar continued his pursuit of the Helvetii, engaging them in several skirmishes and wearing down their forces. The final showdown between Caesar and the Helvetii would come later at the Battle of Bibracte, where Caesar would once again demonstrate his tactical genius. But it was at the Arar that the tone for the Gallic War was set. Caesar had shown that he was not a passive governor, but a man of action, a leader who would go to great lengths to secure victory and protect Rome's interests. The Battle of the Arar is often overshadowed by the larger and more famous battles of Caesar's Gallic campaign, but it remains a critical moment in his early successes. It was here that Caesar first demonstrated the discipline and efficiency of his legions, as well as his ability to capitalize on his enemies' weaknesses. The battle also showed the importance of timing and terrain in warfare. Caesar's decision to strike while the Helvetii were divided by the river was a masterstroke, and it allowed him to gain a strategic advantage early in the campaign. Ultimately, the Battle of the Arar was not just a military victory. It was a turning point in Caesar's campaign to conquer Gaul. It marked the beginning of a series of engagements that would eventually lead to the subjugation of the Gallic tribes and the expansion of Roman power. For Caesar, the victory was a stepping stone on his path to greater glory, both as a military leader and as a political figure in Rome. As the Gallic War unfolded, Caesar would continue to build on the success of the Arar, using his military victories to solidify his position in Gaul and enhance his reputation back in Rome. The legacy of the Battle of the Arar, though often overlooked, remains a testament to the importance of strategy, leadership, and decisive action in the art of war.